My name is Daniel Cross, and in 2017 I moved to a small, quiet neighborhood in Portsmouth, Virginia, after accepting a teaching job at a local high school. The place wasn't fancy, but it was peaceful, lined with maple trees, old wooden houses, and neighbors who smiled at you even if they didn't know your name. Exactly the kind of peaceful life I thought I needed. My house was small, but right across from it stood an older property. House number 48. It was a pale yellow two-story home with peeling paint and windows that were always shut. But something, or rather someone, in that house immediately caught my eye. On my first night, while unloading boxes, I felt eyes on me, and there she was. In the second-floor window of the yellow house stood an elderly woman, thin, stiff, with short gray hair and a floral nightgown. She wasn't moving. She wasn't blinking. She was just staring. At first, I thought it was just a curious neighbor, maybe someone lonely or bored. So I lifted a hand to wave. She didn't react, not even a twitch. Her face was completely blank, like a mannequin forgotten behind glass. I brushed it off, telling myself she was just old and maybe didn't see well. But that night, around 2:14 a.m., as I was trying to sleep, something made me look outside. And there she was again. Same window, same posture, same expressionless stare. Not moving an inch. Days passed, then weeks, and I realized something unsettling. The woman never moved. Not her head, not her hands, not a shift in posture. Nothing. Every night, exactly at 2:14 a.m., she appeared in the window. Not earlier, not later. 2:14 a.m. Like clockwork. She stood there for hours, until the sun began to rise, and by morning, she was gone. But here's the thing. I never saw her walk away. She just wasn't there anymore. One evening, as I was watering the plants, my next-door neighbor, Mrs. Reynolds, came out to dump trash. She was a friendly woman in her 50s, the kind who knows everything happening in the neighborhood. I asked casually, "Who's the woman living in the yellow house? The one who always stands in the upstairs window?" The garbage bag fell from her hand, her face drained of color. "Oh, honey," she whispered. "You've been seeing her?" I felt chills crawl up my spine. "What do you mean?" She shook her head, eyes nervously shifting toward House 48. "No one has lived in that house for years." Curiosity mixed with fear, and Mrs. Reynolds finally told me the story. The woman I had been seeing was Margaret Doyle, the former owner. She'd been widowed and lonely. People said she barely left the house. In 2008, she lost her only son in a car accident. After that, she fell into a deep depression. And one night, she hung herself in that very upstairs room. She wasn't discovered for almost a week. Since then, the house had been abandoned. Electricity cut off, water shut down, no visitors, no tenants. "What you're seeing," Mrs. Reynolds whispered, "is her. The same place, same time, every night. Some say she's waiting for her son. Some say she's stuck in the moment she died." I wanted to deny it, tell myself Mrs. Reynolds was telling a ghost story, but deep inside, I knew she was right. I tried to ignore it, tried to close the curtains, tried to sleep earlier. But at 2:14 a.m., my body woke up on its own. Curiosity, fear. Something pulled me to the window. She was there. But this time, something was different. Her head tilted, slowly, painfully, unnaturally. Her blank eyes stared directly into mine. Then her mouth opened, wide, too wide, like her jaw was unhinging. Her lips didn't move, but I heard a whisper coming from inside my room, not outside. "Help me!" I stumbled backward, knocking over a lamp, and in less than a second, she vanished. The window was empty. I couldn't sleep, couldn't think. The next day, I went to the property owner listed at City Hall, a man named George Whitman, who lived 30 minutes away. When I asked if anyone lived in the house, he shook his head. "No, that house is sealed. No power, no keys, no tenants." Why? I told him what I saw. His face was blank, but his eyes weren't. He was hiding something. "People see things sometimes," he said quickly. "I don't deal with that house anymore. Haven't stepped inside since the day they found her." Then he practically pushed me out the door. Something was wrong. Deeply wrong. That night, curiosity overcame fear. I grabbed a flashlight and crossed the street to the house 48. The porch creaked under my feet. The whole place smelled like dust, mold, and something rotten underneath. The front door was locked. The windows boarded. But the back door, it was slightly open, like someone or something left it that way. Inside, the house was cold. Not normal cold, grave cold. The air felt heavy, like the walls were whispering. I climbed the old wooden stairs, each step groaning like it carried the weight of a decade of sorrow. When I reached the upstairs hallway, I saw it. The door to the room she always appeared in, wide open. Inside was nothing but a chair facing the window, and hanging from the ceiling was the old frayed rope she used. But that wasn't the worst part. On the dusty floor were footprints leading right toward me. Fresh footprints, as if someone had been walking there moments before. Then I heard a sound, a soft, choking gasp from behind me. I turned, and she was standing in the hallway, closer than she had ever been. Her head hung to one side, her neck bruised and twisted, her eyes white and sunken. And she whispered again, "Help me. He won't let me leave." I ran out of the house, across the street, locked myself inside. I didn't sleep until morning. The next day, police cars were parked around house 48. Turns out someone broke into the house after I left. But they didn't find a ghost. They found a man, a disheveled, middle-aged squatter who had been secretly living in the abandoned house for years. He survived by stealing food from neighbors' yards. But here's the horrifying part. He admitted he would stand behind the upstairs curtain at night to pretend he wasn't alone. But he also said something else, something that froze my blood. "I wasn't the only one in the house," he told police. "She talked to me. She watched me. She told me she couldn't leave." He pointed to the window and said, 2:14 a.m. She always comes then. The police dismissed it as the ramblings of a mentally unstable man. But I knew the truth, because that night I looked again, and at 2:14 a.m. in the upstairs window of House 48, she was back, smiling. Thank you for watching. Shadow Hunters, if this story sent chills down your spine, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe for more real horror tales. People say every abandoned place has a story, but some stories are kept hidden for a reason. Some doors are locked, not because of what's inside, but because of what might come out. Tonight's story is about a hotel room that staff tried to erase from existence. A room that was never meant to be opened again. Room 207. Michael Reeve wasn't a thrill seeker. He was a content creator. His channel specialized in exploring haunted places, abandoned buildings, and locations with dark histories. Views had been dropping recently, sponsors were leaving, and comments were starting to call his videos fake. So when he heard about the Crow Bridge Hotel, an old property being demolished within a week, he knew this was his chance to make a comeback. But what attracted him wasn't the hotel itself. It was a rumor. Staff claimed there was a room that was sealed shut for decades. A room where something happened so horrifying, the owners decided it was better to pretend it never existed. Room 207. Michael instantly knew. This is the video that will save my channel. He arrived just after sunset. The hotel stood in silence, heavy, suffocating silence, broken windows like empty eye sockets, peeling wallpaper resembling torn skin, dust floating in the air like ash. The entire building smelled like wet wood and something rotten. Michael switched on his camera. All right, guys. This hotel is being demolished next week. And before that happens, I'm going to explore the sealed room 207. Let's see what they're hiding. His footsteps echoed down the empty hallway. Each step felt louder, heavier, as if something unseen was listening. On the ground floor, he met an elderly night caretaker, thin, pale, trembling. When Michael asked about room 207, the caretaker froze, his eyes widened with pure fear. "Leave it alone," the old man whispered. "That room was sealed for a reason. We don't talk about it. No one goes near it, not even during the day." Michael smiled nervously. "Why? What happened there?" The caretaker swallowed like something was stuck in his throat. "She never left that room, and she doesn't want anyone else to leave either." Before Michael could ask more, the old man walked away, fast, limping, almost running. The warning only made him more determined. The corridor leading to the second floor felt colder than the rest of the building, as if the temperature itself dropped the closer he got. When he reached the door, he paused. Room 207 didn't look sealed. It looked trapped. The wooden door had deep scratch marks, as if something inside tried to claw its way out. Rusty chains were wrapped around the handle. Old boards were nailed across the frame. But the strangest part, someone had written in a faded red paint, "Don't open. She's still inside." Michael swallowed, but forced a laugh for the camera. "Wow. Nice touch. Real creepy." He raised a crowbar and began breaking the boards. With each strike, the hallway lights flickered. The air grew colder. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the floor. Finally, the last board cracked open. When the door opened, a wave of cold air hit him. So cold it felt like stepping into a freezer. The room was pitch dark. His flashlight struggled to cut through the thick, heavy blackness inside. The furniture was untouched, as if frozen in time. A bed neatly made, a dressing table with a broken mirror, curtains stiff with dust, and a smell. A mix of old perfume and something metallic. Blood? Michael began recording everything. Okay, this room really is different. It looks like someone lived here, someone who never left. He noticed something odd. The bed sheets. They were wrinkled, as if someone had been lying on them recently. On the dressing table lay a cracked oval mirror. He lifted it. The moment he did, the entire room seemed to exhale. A long, cold breath. Behind him, in the reflection, a dark shape stood in the corner. A woman. Long black hair covering her face, coy. A torn nightgown. Head tilted unnaturally. He spun around. Nothing there. But in the mirror, she was now closer. Michael's heart hammered. He whispered, "Please tell me this is my imagination." He slowly lowered the mirror, and the woman's whisper passed right behind his ear. "You shouldn't have opened the door." He ran for the exit, but the door slammed shut on its own. Lights flickered violently. The bed creaked like someone was climbing onto it. The curtains fluttered without wind. Then his camera screen glitched, showing the woman standing inches behind him. But when he turned, nothing. The screen glitched again. Now she was smiling. A wide, broken, impossible smile. Michael's breathing turned sharp. Panicked. He pounded on the door. "Let me out! Hello? Help!" The room answered with silence. Then, a voice whispered from everywhere and nowhere. "Stay." A cold hand grabbed his ankle. He screamed. The next morning, when demolition workers entered the hotel, they found room 207 sealed. Exactly how it had always been. Boards intact, chains untouched. No signs of forced entry. But on the floor outside the room, they found a camera. Michael's camera. The final footage showed him running, screaming, falling, and his face being pulled into the darkness. The video ended with the door closing slowly, and a soft female whisper, "Another one." Michael was never found. The hotel was demolished 2 days later. Room 207 no longer exists, but the rumor continues. Some say, if you're alone in a hotel hallway late at night, you might hear someone knocking from behind a wall that shouldn't be there. A woman's voice asking, "Can I come in?"